Good morning, everybody. Good morning to you. Happy Monday to everybody. Today is good morning, Facebook world. Good morning, Zoom world. I believe Claudia had a birthday, if I saw Facebook correctly. So I'll say a quick little shout out to Claudia for a happy birthday to you, or belated birthday to you. Good morning, D. With Mr. Castner, him and I were just chit-chatting it up. So good morning. Throw it into the chats. Throw ourselves a happy good mornings to everybody today. Jennifer, good morning. Glenn, up north in PA. Good morning. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning, everybody on this Monday. Good morning, Facebook world. Good morning, Karen. So hopefully everybody had a wonderful weekend. I actually had a little bit, I was just telling Mike, I had a somewhat of a slow weekend. As I look to the next 2 weeks, we're going to talk about the theme today. The topic today is process. As I was processing my next 2 weeks of traveling and different places that I'm going. So it was kind of like the calm before the storm. So here we are. Happy Monday to everybody. Thank you for being a part of us on this Monday. We know kickstarting your week off is the most important, yet at the same token, we sometimes bring our weekend into a Monday. So let's get ourselves charged up, ready to rock and roll. So good morning, everybody. My name is Brock Zevian. I'm a real estate coach, a life coach, a business coach, and a dad. Bryce had his first soccer game. Oh no, he had not his first soccer game. He had a soccer game over the weekend. It was pretty funny. He is what we call the cherry picker. He only likes to play on one side of the field, and he has conversations with the goalie, and he likes to talk to people while he's there. So it was pretty comical watching him talk to the players while they're playing soccer and just seeing him interact. So and then Brielle had a soccer game. She played really well. So it was a cool soccer weekend for us. So that was my dad life that I had. A lot of lawn care. It was beautiful this weekend. So today's topic, but before we begin into the topic, I even write it down so I don't forget. As always, my new thing is the affirmations of what we start. So for those that haven't been on, I like to start off with some new affirmations. I always encourage everybody to say this after me. We will say it twice, just for those that are just coming on to us. It says, we say, good things going to happen to me. Good things are going to happen through me. We will say it again. Good things are going to happen to me. Good things are going to happen through me. It's just something that I've really started. I listened to a podcast last week, and no joke, guys, I've been saying it every day, a couple times a day, and good things are happening to me. It's the way my brain works now. It's the way that I'm cognitively looking into it. So our affirmations of starting off our day. So today's topic is called process. Okay. Process. And ironically, Mike and I were talking about it, the process, and he's like, man, it's like you were just listening into my weekend conversations about the process we don't have. Show of hands, how many of you feel like you have a really, really good process in your business? How many would feel like you have a solid process? Anybody say that they get a solid process? How many of you would say that you could use a little work on your process? Good morning, Pat. How many would say that you could use a little work on your process? And how many of you, good morning, Scott, would say that your process really you possibly even need some help with it? Meaning like you really should have somebody come in and help you with your process. How many would agree on that? That boy, it'd be nice to have somebody come in with your process, right? So here's two things I wrote down in my notes. I wrote down process, I wrote down trust, and I wrote down faith. Okay. Those were the three words I wrote down: process, trust, and faith. Because at a certain point, we have to trust our process, and it might not even work. And then we have to put it into a faith category, be like, I hope this works. I'm just going to pray to God that this works. Because sometimes we don't know yet until we get into it. And that's kind of the storm. It's like, well, I got to trust this storm, or I got to trust this. And so here's part of the situations or the challenges that we have here. And I was switching from gallery to speaker view because sometimes I like to see people. If you can get on video, it's nice to see faces. But here's the challenge that many of us have in life. I feel society lives in a microwave world, instead of like that slow cooker world. How many of us love that microwave? We go right over to it and we just toot, 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 and we just wait there. And it's like, okay, in 1 minute, my food's going to be warm. Would you agree that if you spent $200 or $250 on a menu on your bill at the restaurant, and you went in the back in the cooking area and you saw about 20 microwaves, how would you feel about $250 spending on that food? Would you be pretty excited about it? Would you be like, this doesn't taste really good? Would you be a little concerned? Like, I can't believe I spent this much money and all it is microwave. How many could tell a difference with microwave food? I don't know about you guys, but I certainly could tell a difference with microwave food. Like the chicken nuggets I give my kids, it's like a huge night and day difference between that and me putting them in the toaster. Tell me though, do you think the slow cooker takes a little bit more time? Would you agree with me? It takes a little bit more time. Would you agree with me that you have to go to the slow cooker a couple more times? Do you have to like go check out the crock pot? Yeah. How many of you done something outside when you did one of those Dutch ovens and you really have to maintain it because that food that you leave out there that takes like a long period of time, but you find out though that you got to go look at it because is it hard to maintain that temperature? How many of you maintain the temperature in a microwave? How many of you do you have to like hit like power high 375 degrees for this much time? Like, how many have to do that? Because I'm pretty sure my daughter now, who could just go like Bryce now, can stand up there and he can, toot, toot. He's like, Dad, I did it. Right. See, that process is very quick. Okay. When you have fast success, it also has a fast falling. Fast success, fast falling is what takes place because we didn't do the details. And so there's a really important beverage that we all drink that talks about this. And the story is about wine. We all know wine is made from grapes. But we also know that when we compare wine to our fast drinks, just get me this. Let me mix my Kool-Aid really quick. I can come over here. Now I have like one of those soda machines, like soda waters. Like I could just hit this button twice, and I got soda water within like 10 seconds. It's instantaneous. I love it. We like instantaneous drinks. The instantaneous drinks with my soda water allows my soda water to be cheaper now, right? But let me ask you a question. Put it in the chat. The longer the wine sits, would you agree with me that it becomes more expensive? The longer the wine, when people say what year, is it the older the wine, the more expensive, right, Karen? Okay. And it tastes better too. Just like that slow cooker. We put that meat on there and we wait it overnight. It tastes so much better. See, just like wine, the process of wherever your goals are, the longer it takes sometimes, the more energy we have to put into, the more money. And I'm looking at my notes here. See, in life, what I've learned is that we want to put in our business a microwave mindset, but wanting a Blue Marlin menu. We want that microwave mindset. Like, let me go over here today. Let me just push this button here. And I want this to come on out. And I want to make a lot of money. I want it all to work out. But unfortunately in life, would we all agree that it just doesn't work out that way? We all agree that when you look at the wine process, see the wine process, if correct me if I'm wrong, everybody, but the wine process, the only part of the process is when we go to the grocery store in aisle 3 and we pick it off the shelf. That's the only process that we pretty much know. We know there's something else there, but we really don't know, right? And see, in our business today, it's like, but I see these people over here, like we all look at the wine shelves, okay? And we all see the top shelf is the most expensive. The bottom shelf is the cheapest, right? Guys are looking at me kind of like, man, he really looks at wine. I do. Wendy likes wine. So I see the wine often. And I used to know when I used to drink wine, part of my alcoholic story is I used to drink a bottle of wine. This is when I should have known I had a problem. I would drink a bottle of wine, white wine in the morning. That was how I kickstarted. That was my breakfast. Yeah, I know. It's not to be proud of, just sharing with you. That's how I learned wine. But here's the thing. See, wine starts with the soil. See, you have to have the right soil, the right foundation. Some of us are trying to go to the vines and we're not even looking at the foundation. We're not looking in the soil. And what the purpose of a grape is, the purpose of a grape is to be crushed. The purpose of the grape is to be crushed in order to go to the processing, the next step. But see, when you're actually at the crushing phase, that is actually the next new step for you. See, in our brains, if we take crushing of life, we fall apart. We're like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe this is happening to me. Oh my goodness. See, we understand and we know we need to be part of crushing needs to happen. But what happens, what drives me insane, I'm probably going to piss somebody off by me saying this, but we need to be raised to be crushed, not raised to be applauded. And when I see my kids and they get a participation award, or when the teacher says they can make it up like 2-3 times to get their grade up, I'm like, no, Brielle, you cannot take this test 3 times just for you to say you got an 85. You failed it the first time, and we are going to work harder now because that is really your grade. Of course, you got a better grade the last 3 times. You better have. You seen the same freaking question 5 times now. Like that, you don't get an 85. Okay. You actually got a 42. And that's what I look at, because if we start going and applauding every little participation award and everything else we got, we are going, and when this real life happens, guess what? They're going to fall apart. But what about this? I mean, mortgage company, can I get another try? No, you don't get another try, mortgage company. You either pay your bill or you don't. I didn't have somebody to give. I was blessed. I actually got a second chance in life. But when you heard Sean on Friday talk about suicide, my suicide was running into a tree. That was my story inside my head, was to run into a tree. I had it mapped out in my head. But see, in a crushing moment, that's when the wine starts to take shape. That's when things start to happen. That's when Glenn says it tastes better. See, that was a transition in my life. That was a defining moment. And a defining moment for a grape is when it gets pulled off the vine and gets put into this compressor and starts to churn. And that process happens. And at that very moment, at that defining moment, something takes place. It's called the C word. It's called committed. Commitment takes shape, and yes, it's a grape, and the grape sometimes doesn't have a choice, but it gets in that processor, and we too don't have a choice. And sometimes we do, though, because we get a little frustrated. And so part of my story today was that commitment and then having faith in it. Because when we go through this process, and just like Mike was saying, and I was telling Mike earlier today, I said, Mike, I guarantee you, your property management process was not the same day 1 as it is in day 2 years. And then if you forecast another 2 years, it's going to look different than 2, because we call that growth. We call that a process in order to get to it. And you're making more money in 2 years than you are today, than you were on day 1. And that's called the wine process of the entrepreneurship. Is the longer that the wine sits, the more value it becomes, because it went through a process. And so the grape is not as valued as the wine. Would we agree? That the wine, same grape in the processor, but it became more expensive when it joined its other grape friends. And they were all in a bottle, and they hung out there, and they stuck together during a time period, and they said, here we are. But we had to make that commitment to be able to go into it. And so part of my story today is I'm touching on to you because I made a commitment in my process of a dual career. I made a commitment. So yesterday when I was sitting by the pool and I had some time period to relax, I did some yard work and I was sitting there and I had my like literally here's my schedule for today on my calendar. And then I was telling Mike about it because like now, and there is no police now, but see, I have another calendar now just for coaching because I was like, it was getting a little carried away of like me trying to figure out where I was supposed to go. What I was like, that's it. I'm going to Staples. I'm buying a calendar because it's part of my process. See, when things get bad, I knew when I was committed to a dual career, speaking, coaching, traveling, real estate, by the way, oh, still have kids, can't get rid of them. I was committed into the process. And now that I'm in the storm and in the process, I have to adapt and change certain things. So I get another calendar. There hasn't been a police officer here because now I have two calendars that I write down. Nobody has gotten upset with me. But I was there this morning, David, or yesterday, David, and I was writing my week down. And then I started to realize I actually I got to write down my 2-week plan because I started to take a look at it when I said, boy, I got a busy 2 weeks. I'm honored and awesome to have Pat. She's got me coming down to Charleston next week. This Sunday, I go to Florida with John Maxwell. I'm down there for 3 days. And then I come back for a couple more days and then I'm in Nashville and then I'm in Charleston. Oh, by the way, we have real estate going on. Fortunate we have over $3 million in real estate sales this month. Oh, by the way, I got kids, I got soccer. This is my process of a dual career. This is the process. I was committed going into it. See, why I get bent out of shape right at this very moment, I want to poke at somebody because when things get bad, you want a participation award right now. You want to be, well, but Brock, I mean, I've been doing this, and I mean, look at what I got going on over here, Brock, and I've gotten this, and and doing this, and no, that's not getting to the end process. That's not getting to where you just said to me where you want to grow. See, we get really excited about talking about the process. But would you agree, and I haven't talked to Mike here in a minute about the process, that I'm pretty sure Mike's process of his property management, they're having some challenges. And we're like, all right, this isn't working. How many of you right now, I told you your process isn't working, but we're expecting the same results? That's called insanity. Like it drives me crazy when people are telling me, oh man, I still haven't lost any weight and I haven't done this. I'm like, well, how you been doing in the gym in February and January? Well, you won't believe what happened. And it's just been crazy and it's been busy. So how do you expect to lose weight if you haven't been committed to the process of your workout schedule? Right? It's not like an easy you can't just be like, that's the microwave. Let me put in my weight and within 2 minutes I should be down my weight. No, it's a slow cooker. Success is a slow cooker, everybody. You have to be crushed in order to have that transition, in order for you to have your defining moment. And so, Mike, here, talking about your property management and talking about your process, how ironic was it that we were just, looking into that? But as far as like a process for you, how does that because you've done many different processes. I mean, I remember the dual career with me with coaching and teaching, and then now dual career speaking in real estate. Talk about a little bit about your process from a different, your perspective.
Okay. Well, first,
Go.
I would say, wow, that was a heck of a message. Dude, that was highly motivating. I'm like, I want to second that. It's like, it's so true. And sometimes you do get second chances, but you can't just keep doing it and then saying, oh, well, I want to get a better score. I want to do it. I mean, 100% agree with you. That's awesome. So then having said that, my thing is like, and I'm a systems and a processes type person because you have to have those efficiencies. So whether it's efficiency in time, resources, whatever, because when you're in this business, things are coming at you from all different directions. So again, relative to property management, if you miss a detail or you miss one small thing, it could be very critical here, especially when you're dealing with trust accounts and real estate commissions and all that. So when Brock brought that up this morning, I was like, I'm not gonna believe this, but this is one of the things we were meeting on last week. That we got to refine our processes so things don't slip through the cracks, whether it's tenant onboarding, owner onboarding, responding to maintenance calls, counting issues. It is about process. But then when you look at the bigger picture, if you don't have processes in place, then when it comes to like doing real estate, because Brock's like, how you doing? I said, I know it's rough out there, but we're having a hang up here. I mean, we're gonna have more closings in the first quarter than I've ever done. Where's property maintenance going in? I told him how we separate our maintenance out in a maintenance company and already got half of what we did all last year in the first 2 months. So the challenge is, as I said, is if you don't have process in place, like when it comes to real estate, it's like I got to know when I'm following up with my sphere, when I'm sending out my mailers, when I'm doing my texting, when I'm doing my birthday cards and this, that it's easy to be missed. But when you have a process in place, you have a system where it just goes through, these things come just organically. Because again, I think most of people know me, I don't make cold calls. I don't do that. I work my sphere, but it's just the same thing over and over and over. It's get a process down where it's like, got to send out these birthday cards, house anniversary cards. I got to do my text to this many. It's like, what's coming up now? Oh, now Easter's coming up. So what are we doing for Easter? Because it's awesome when one of your sphere just call up, and that's probably over half my business. Just says, yeah, Mike, we're ready now, or hey, I'm thinking about doing this, or I noticed that. And it's like, boom, there you go. So I just want to second everything you said, and reiterate that this is not a sprint. It's a long-term marathon race where you can't go in and say, hey, this is a get rich quick. I'm going to pop it in a microwave in 60 seconds. I'll have a gourmet meal. Your message was so spot on. It's like, I want to do this, to be in this for the long haul, and the ups and downs are going to come and they're going to happen. One of the things that, again, I said at our meeting is I said, we're doing really well, but my gut tells me conserve cash because there's going to be a down again. It's just the natural life cycle of business. You're going to have your ups and downs. So you plan for that. You have a system in place. Say, well, what if this happens? We want to make sure we got enough safety net. And then as long as you just keep working that system, it doesn't matter. 2022, I took a big hit in volume. Anybody care? I went from like 17 transactions down to 8 transactions. I wasn't expecting that. Most of those 8 came in like the first 2 quarters, but it was because I had planned that, hey, I don't think this is going to keep going. I had those resources set aside, got through that second half of 2022, and then 2023 took off. And it's like, hey, we all know that it's going to turn around and come back the other way at some point. So put a system in place that allows for fluctuations, get a good, solid plan, continue to work your plan over and over. Don't look at it as hey, I'm going to get rich in the next 6 months or a year. If you're in this for the long haul, and when you look at successful agents who weathered those ups and downs, those peaks and valleys, how did they do it? And that's my advice. And it's just, again, ironic that you were talking about processes, and that's one of the things we're working on right now.
Cool. Somebody's going to ask this question. I'm just going to give you the answer right now, because somebody right now is thinking this. Okay. Somebody right now is thinking, well, Brock, how do I create this process? Like, how do I do it today? Like, how does this look? Okay. I'm going to share it to you right now. I'm going to give you the big ticket item. Okay. This is exactly what I do, and it's helped me tremendously. It's called Own the Morning. Okay. If I really, really was on my podcast, I even probably say an F word to really emphasize of owning the morning, that you literally have it written down. You have to first write it down, and you have to own the morning from when you wake up in the morning till 12 o'clock at noon. That is the most important thing. Don't try to do the whole day. Don't try to it's too overwhelming for your brain. But own the morning and write down every 30 minutes of what you got to do and put it on your to-do list. Like literally, I mean, I can't like that is might be overwhelming to people, but for my schedule right there, it is the best way for me to make sure that I dominate the morning. I'm not trying to wishy-wash the morning. It's literally dominate the morning, because if I dominate the morning, would you agree that the second half of my day, I'm feeling pretty successful? I'm feeling accomplished. See, what happens is part of the process comes into play. By noon, we start frazzling and we fall apart. And next thing we know, like, well, I've already lost half the day. I haven't got done this, this, and this. Oh my gosh, it's 4:00. I got to pick up my kids. Exactly, Christian. And builds momentum. You got to be able to get the small wins. It's so very important of a process. See, the process becomes so overwhelming. It's like, I don't even know where to begin. How do I even start with this? If you don't do income producing calls, start off with one call a day. Just start off with one. Hey, I made one call today. That's great because you made zero. It's 1% better than what you were yesterday. That is such an important ingredient when you're starting a process. As well as starting a process, talk to people who have a process. Talk to people like, you know what, maybe I need to be involved around people. We talked about it with Sean of being by yourself is not a very good place to be in. You need to be on Zooms. I've never met Glenn, but Glenn's in Pennsylvania. And I love that I get to see him on a daily basis. There's certain people on here that I get to see on a daily basis do not live around me. And I love being able to see them. I love being able to coach people in DC, Florida, Michigan. Scott's here in Michigan. I got people from New York, and I get to talk to different people all across the country. Being able to go on a Zoom, start having more Zoom conversations with people, be like-minded people. That could be a process for you. Be like, you know what? I got to talk to high-level people, and I got to do it for 3 times this week, Mondays from 9:30 to 10 o'clock. And then I got to figure out people I'm going to talk to. That's just a process of how to engage. If you saw my podcast of me trying to propel this podcast of the different people and the different group pages and the different websites, let's call one Matchmaker. I know it's a podcast. It's not a dating show, but it's called Matchmaker Radio or Matchmaker something. And I got to go to this site and I got to look through all these people and I got to go engage with people. Why? Because I said I got to do 8 podcasts a month. It's just part of my goal. How many have heard me say it? It's part of a process that you got to go through. I've never done it before, but I just throw it at the wall, see what sticks. Let me try this group. Let me do this. Today, I want you to start a process in something. Write it down. Write down right now. Write down process, trust, and faith. Figure out a process for you. Trust in it. And if it doesn't work, have the faith that you're going to come back to it to fix it again. That's what it's all about. And don't give yourself a participation award for trying it for one day. You got to be able to put in there to be able to do it day in and day out and try it for the rest of the month. That's it. Just try it till the end of March. See what happens. And tell us your story on our Facebook. Share with like, hey, you know what? I tried this process thing. It actually worked. I did this. Guys, tomorrow at 7 o'clock, it is for all entrepreneurs. It actually, I even got some kids on here for tomorrow because it's about life. It's about mindset, bz3coachbert.com, 7 o'clock. It's a webinar. We're doing it at night. Bring something to sip. As my buddy Bill Gallagher likes to say, bring something to sip. It could be a happy hour for you. Bring something on there. Love to have you on video. So we're going to be talking about 5 different things entrepreneurs are struggling with right now. And we're going to come up with solutions for them to help you. It's going to be about an hour. So tomorrow, 7 o'clock, love to have you at bz3coachbert.com. Sign up. We're going to also be raffling off some of his books, but you got to sign up in order to be on there. So guys, I appreciate you all. Work on your process today. Go through it. Don't be that microwave today. Be that slow cooker. Go be crushed today in some capacity to grow into wherever it is that you want. Be that fine wine. Be that fine wine. Guys, have a great day. See you tomorrow, 8:15. Our boy Chad will be here. See ya.